Eddie Hearn has been with us live since 11 o'clock and is still in studio with us now. We're going to talk. Have you two piped down, actually? Yeah, it's all the personal stuff has stopped now in the last break, thankfully. Eddie, Anthony Joshua against Jermaine Franklin. Is this make or break for AJ?
Absolutely. I mean, and obviously, I'm a promoter. I'm hyping the fight. But at the same time, I am nervous about the fight. He's coming off 2 defeats, albeit to Alexander Usyk. We saw emotionally the position that he was in after the last fight because he wanted to win so badly. He's got a new trainer. He's taken himself to Dallas with a very, very small team to work his absolute socks off. You have to understand, like, sometimes the reason I speak so passionately about people, and the same with Conor Benn, is because I like them and I believe in them. They're people that are close to me. AJ particularly. Like, I take it very personally when AJ gets criticised because when I look at the resume and I look at his ability to make fights and his willingness to make fights, it really gets on my wick where he gets sort of overrun sometimes by fighters that want to speak on social media, which he never does.
Yeah.
When you just have to look at his resume. And Usyk, I get people
But his star has fallen. AJ's star has fallen dramatically.
Jim, he's lost 2 fights on the bounce. He's no longer a world champion. Of course his star has fallen. But he's a man, in my opinion, that is an elite heavyweight. I believe he's top 3 heavyweight in the world, and sorry if that's such a crime, that wants to come back and try and regain his world heavyweight title. He's the purest individual. He's the hardest worker. He makes more sacrifices and commitments than any athlete I've seen, and he's my mate, right? So I am so pumped for his return, and I want him to go in there, and I want him to show people how good he is. I want him to believe in himself. I want him to enjoy life.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be sad. I want him to appreciate what he's achieved and how good he is.
Now, the thing
and
is
I want him to go in there and I want him to make a statement.
If he beats Franklin, and we're going to cover it on talkSPORT, and you guys have got it in the zone. If he beats Franklin, and we'll talk about Fury Usyk in a moment, and Fury beats Usyk, are we at last going to see AJ Fury?
I mean, the whole... we had a bad run around the Conor Benn stuff and then the Fury negotiations. Tyson Fury is good, or has been good in the past, of convincing people of certain things. And during those negotiations, he convinced people that it was or it was AJ's fault. For the record, I don't think AJ should have boxed Usyk in December. Irrelevant.
Fury in December.
Sorry, Fury.
Yeah, you're right.
He told me, take the fight.
I agree with you.
60-40, we take the fight. After Tyson Fury drew with Deontay Wilder the first time out, he wasn't world champion. He should have won that night, but he wasn't world champion. We offered Tyson Fury 60-40 for the fight, champion against challenger. He turned it down. He said, I want 50-50 as a challenger. We said no. This time around, AJ's the challenger. He accepted 60-40. Ego got involved. He said, I want maybe not... All of a sudden, we were getting demands and pressures every day, deadlines on social media. It must be signed today. It must be signed today. It fell through. He would fight Tyson Fury. He would sign to fight Tyson Fury now for the same terms that we agreed back in November. 60-40, etc., etc.
I believe that to be
true. I know. So when you
true.
say, will it happen? Like, I don't know.
Do you think Fury would want to fight AJ?
Yeah, I think Fury has no fear of fighting anyone. I think Fury realises how good Usyk is, and I think Fury said, let's punt it out there at 70-30. He'll never take the fight.
You must wish Fury was your fighter.
He's a fantastic fighter, great name. I sat down with him in Monte Carlo, talked to him about signing him. He was about 27 stone. He was sweating. And I thought to myself, mate, there is no way you will ever get back in the ring. What he has done has been unbelievable. But what I cannot have is when people stop me in the street and say, I wish AJ would be more like Fury. He gave all his money away to charity.
Which he doesn't do.
etc., etc. But he is a great entertainer. Sometimes he makes me look average in terms of spinning things. And for a fighter to do
spinning
that.
Things?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. Stop it, yeah.
Snake oil salad.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think people are seeing through that now. And I think if he does get 70-30, I think it's an unbelievable deal for Tyson Fury.
Are we right in believing that Fury Usyk will definitely happen?
I don't know. It's just the numbers that Tyson Fury wants for that fight. They are so far away from doing it at Wembley. But sometimes with Tyson, he does the unpredictable. And I think
But it's moved on now, isn't it? He's gone from wanting 105p out of every 100, right? He's now moved into a territory where he's got his split. That fight's done, I think. It's done.
I think judging by some tweets from Frank and stuff like that, it sounds like it's there. I'm quite surprised. It's only 6 weeks away. Yeah. And Fury, but I thought there were times when Fury wouldn't fight Wilder, and he did it. So I kind of think he snookered himself into a position where Usyk, and fair play to Usyk, by the way, has turned around and gone,
But I think he's actually...
Because Frank Warren, I think he was actually on talkSPORT, said, easy fight to make, 50-50. Yeah. And that was the perception of all parties. That it was a 50-50 deal.
And Tyson did what Tyson did. And I think Eddie was absolutely right. At the time, I thought he was right. I think there was no place... Ironically, one of Anthony's best friends is Michelle's, a very close friend of Michelle's, my partner. So I'm always getting castigated by him about my views on Anthony Joshua. I do think I do think he's a flat track bully, and I do think he's gotten found out. And I don't regard him in the same way that Eddie does. And I also don't regard him in the way that Eddie does, because he's not a cash cow for me. But I do respect his achievements. But I do think it was absolutely right. People talking about this fight now with Jermaine Franklin, I think it's the right fight for him to take because it rebuilds. But then afterwards, if he can't fight Fury and he can't fight Usyk because they're tied up, right? I'd like to see him in with Dubois, or I'd like to see him in with Joe Joyce, because they're ranked higher than him. He can take those fights. Wouldn't you take those fights?
Yeah, I don't think... I mean... The Dubois fight, I think Joyce is the guy that, I think Dubois is miles away in terms of, actually the heavyweight division of the elite guys. But I think Joyce is right in there. I think he's a very tough man to beat. Those guys have sparred thousands of rounds. I've seen it. It's brilliant to watch. Honestly.
Because that would be a great fight.
If you asked AJ about fighting Joe Joyce, no problem at all.
He would do it. If he comes through against Franklin, would you put him in against Wilder?
Absolutely. I think he has 3 options.
But can you make that fight with Frank?
What are the 3 options?
Frank with AJ.
Can you make that fight for AJ against Joyce?
Yes.
That's a fight you can make.
Yes, but I believe...
That's a fight Frank would make as well, wouldn't he?
I believe he's waiting also for the... Don't forget, Joe Joyce is pretty much there to fight for the world title.
What are the 3 options then, Eddie, for AJ?
The 3 options after Franklin, and he has to come through Franklin, are Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, and Dillian Whyte. And people say, oh, you throw Dillian Whyte in there because that's the one that's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the easiest fight to make. And I don't think there's any disgrace going off the back of the Usyk fights. Jermaine Franklin, Dillian Whyte, Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. That's a hell of a 2023.
I would have preferred you gone in against Dillian Whyte, because I think he's a slightly diminished force and it would make more credibility. But I do understand, because I don't think Franklin gets a pass, because it looks like he had a decent fight against Dillian Whyte. He did. I understand he did. But on paper, he's not even inside the top 30. He's just inside the top 30 heavyweights in the world.
I mean, you want to choose box rate.
Right.
Yeah, but listen, Simon, he's a good fighter. He had a very close fight with Dillian Whyte.
I saw him.
On one hand, it's like people want to say, oh, Franklin beat Dillian Whyte. And then you match him with AJ, who people say AJ's over.
I heard you arguing about Zilly Zhang and the fight for Joe Joyce. I heard all that.
But that's the pressure.
That's you getting, feeling that everyone's getting up against you.
But you're saying you don't... Basically, what you're saying is you don't really agree with me that AJ's an elite heavyweight, right?
No, I do think he's I do think he's a top... You wouldn't win the heavyweight championship of the world twice if you weren't. Okay. But I think he's changed from a fighter.
But you said he's a flat track bully.
I still think he's disrespected, Eddie.
Yeah, of course he's
disrespected.
Are you serious?
Why is it disrespectful if it's an honest opinion?
Because you're not looking at the facts of who he fought at what times and the run of fights that he's been on.
Brazil.
No.
I've looked at him hiding behind a jab against Ruiz. I've looked at him boxing. I went to the Joseph Parker fight, which was a snooze fest. Okay, the referee killed that. I get that. But I look at it and say,
but he had like 22 fights. He's unifying the division. He's fighting.
But that's a different argument, though, isn't it?
No, but the run that he's been on is unbelievable. Anyway, what I want to say is what I want to say. On one hand, he's not that good. On the other hand, Jermaine Franklin's an easy fight. He's just had a life and death with Dillian Whyte. I mean, so which one is it? Do you rate him or you're not? Tune into the Zone on April 1st. You'll find out. If he can't beat Jermaine Franklin, if he beats him in style, yeah.